Hi, I'm Bill Better, and welcome to a new playthrough of Project 5 Sightseer. We're starting a new world because the game has been released and the old worlds no longer work correctly with the new game. So, let's start from the very start and create a new world. What should we call it? Let's call it New World. Click on Start, and that's generating a random world. Now, where do we want to start? Weathered Peaks doesn't sound promising. Floodplains. Let's try floodplains. See what we get. Now we can figure the world. We'll even leave resources at the same. And I'll leave the science costs at the same. If you want to make it quicker to get research, you would reduce this number. If you want to make it harder, you would increase that number. The one thing I'm going to change is the go to, and I'm going to reduce that to 600, just so that if I want to get back to somewhere more quickly, it'll be easier to do, because the standard cooldown is 2 hours on the go to command, and I've reduced it to 20 minutes. Am I sure I want to start there? Yeah, why not? So here we are, back in Project 5 Sightseer in our starting buggy. And we've got our mining laser and we've got our scanner. So let's look at the inventory. And the first thing I'm going to do is right click on the mining turret and stop it collecting gravel, because I don't want gravel. So let's go for a drive and see what there is to see. This is such a beautiful game. It is just such a beautiful game. I know I say it every episode of every time I play, but it just is. Now these little asterisks, they're things you can pick up. When you get close, you get a little extender arm, and you can click on that icon, or you can just press the shortcut key, which is G, and you pick it up. I don't really need rubber at this point in the game, but you know. And when you've got resources on the screen, if you click Shift and S, you do a scanning pulse, and then you can find stuff on the map. And if you're the first person to discover a deposit, you get credits for that. So we've got bitumen and magnesium. So let's put a mark on the map. So I've discovered that you can actually type \mark space and then whatever you want the text to be, and then just press enter. Okay, let's just create a faction. There we go. Okay. Oh, I must have had to create that first. Okay. And then we've got a marker, bitumen and magnesium. Now every time you start a new world, the achievement tree unlocks for that world. The achievements in that world are separate to your Steam achievements, although each one of these, the first time you get it, is a Steam achievement. Okay, so that's one of the last things that was added to the game. Now we've got another little star over here. You can just see in the mini-map, and there it is on the screen. And we'll go see what that is, because later on in the game a container of hard metal and more of it. Gosh, okay. Later on in the game, finding a container of hard metal is, you know, neither here nor there. But at this stage in the game, finding a container of hard metal might be just what you need to start your first outpost. So. Now, one of the interesting things about the game is that if you've got online chat enabled, then global chat is literally global. Anyone who's playing the game and has the online chat enabled can be part of global chat, even if they're in a single player game, which is cool because global chat's a good place to go to get advice. Now, if there were any resources next to that large geothermal heat, that would be very handy indeed. There's a resource over there that I can see. That's a question mark, so I haven't discovered it yet. Nickel. I don't think that's amazingly useful at this point in the game, but let's mark that. So now we've got two markers on the map. Let's head a bit further. So this is how the game starts. You're driving around in your little vehicle. If you want resources to be more readily available, you just increase the resource multiplier when you start the game. I'm wondering if rubber just drops there, because that's not where I was before. That's nickel. Can we turn nickel into hard metal? We can. So if the little pictures like this, like 6 things piled on top of each other, then that's a resource that can't be turned into hard metal. If the little picture has an anvil on it, you can right click on that and you can convert it to hard metal. And I almost certainly will do that as time goes by. Now the more you collect for this little vehicle, the harder it's going to be to drive it. So I may not want to pick up a huge amount more. What I'm really looking for in the early days is aluminium and copper, particularly copper. And the reason for that is in the build menu, which is the crossed hammer and spanner, in the electricity production tab, there are small solar panels. So we need copper to make the small solar panels, and they're essential for your early game energy production. What do we need for small combustion chamber? Yeah, it's the same, hard metal, silicon and copper. So we really do need a source of copper, and ideally any material that we can turn into hard metal, but aluminium would be ideal because you use aluminium early game for a lot of other things as well. Let's do a scanning pulse with Shift and S. Titanium, aluminium, copper. Ah. And you use titanium for flyers. Right. It's a small aluminium and a medium copper. Okay. Okay. Now I know people who will go around the map for ages looking for a huge copper and a huge whatever and so on and so forth. But to be honest, I think it's so important to the game to get an outpost started that if you found somewhere with copper and aluminium, that's probably a place to start. What's that over there? Crude oil. Now your initial base is quite large. So I think you can probably go a little bit closer to that crude oil. And I think starting an outpost here will probably capture all 4 of those resources. So let's see. What I'm going to do is convert this nickel to hard metal, and I'm going to make a container. Let's pop it down somewhere flat that's easy to get to. Let me put it there. Yep. Now when you first put down a container, oh, that's on titanium. That's interesting. Usually they start off on gravel, but I need one on titanium, so that's fine. Let's put another one down. And that one's on gravel. And so what I'll do is I'll change that to copper. So you right click on it, change it to copper. This is really important. You then click on refit, because unless you click on refit, it's actually still gravel. There you go. Now, what I'm going to do is create a load more containers and mine some copper. But if I've got titanium, I'm pretty sure titanium can be converted into hard metal. Oh, there's a hard metal container. How convenient. Sometimes it does seem like the game is almost reading your mind. And it brings up the resource you really, really need to get going with. Oh, and actually you can see all these resources have the outpost marker now on them. And that means they belong to an outpost. And since this is my outpost, they belong to me. Have I got enough? I have got enough hard metal to make another container. So although this container is not producing rubber, this outpost rather isn't producing rubber. What I'm going to do is convert that to rubber. So I can drop off my rubber. And you just click and drag it onto a container. And that drops it off. So what I want to do is create a number of other containers, one for each resource that exists in my environment, including one for silicon and one for gravel, because we're going to need gravel for building and silicon for making solar panels. So I'll take my scanner off, which is number 2, and I'll turn my mining turret on, which is number 1, and we will shoot that rock and get a pitiful amount of titanium. That's a shame. Okay. What we'll do is we'll head over to the copper and see what we get mining the copper deposit. Where was the copper? It's over here. So although the copper is here, if you just mine ground, you usually don't get anything. It just says unsuitable for mining. What you need to mine is a raised surface, like the edge of a rock or the edge of this hill here. So let's give that a go. Yeah, so we're getting 100 copper per time there. If I wave that around a bit, it might increase it or it might not. Now, because we're in the starting vehicle, it can only mine for a very short period of time, and you only get, it takes a long time to recharge. Once you've got higher level vehicles with higher level components in them, you can mine for a much longer length of time, and eventually you can mine essentially indefinitely until the resource is depleted. But we're just starting off, and this is what you get when you start off. There's no raised surface near that aluminium, so this is probably the closest I can get. Yeah, we're getting more copper close to the copper deposit. So what we'll need to do is head back to the copper and just try and mine more of that. And I don't think the deposits are never-ending resources, but they last for so long that at this stage in the game they are essentially infinite. To all intents and purposes. So yeah, I don't need titanium at the moment, so I'll just convert that to hard metal. I need aluminium less than I need copper, so we'll convert that to hard metal. Let's have a look at the power options again. That can burn a variety of materials, including coal, but I haven't got access to coal, so I think we're maybe sticking with solar panels. And we will need silicon for that. And that takes hard metal, copper and silicon. So I'm going to have to gather quite a bit more resource. So I'll keep on mining, and I'll bring you back once I've done that. And we've got a little bit of stuff to show for ourselves. So we'll see you again soon. And we're back. And we've collected a bit of resource. So look, some hard metal and some copper. I've just been turning the aluminium and the titanium into hard metal, and now I need some silicon, so I'm hoping, yep, kind of any sandy area you can usually pick up silicon from. Now I don't want to fall into that water because I'm quite heavy, and getting out again might be tricky. And it's raining, so I'll build up momentum quite quickly at the moment. Let's try again. Just need a bit of silicon. 4,000. Let's get a little bit more. What I'm going to want to build is, I will want a small combustion chamber, although I haven't got any fuel for it at the moment. But the main thing I want is a small ore extractor. So I reckon I'm going to need at least 6,000 silicon, so let's get a bit more. That should be enough. Now during the night a guy came and gave me a drone, a basic scouting drone. I think where we want to create an ore extractor is right near the copper. So we may need to convert some of our existing copper into hard metal. I don't want to do too much of that because that's an irreversible process. Right, let's build a small ore extractor. And it's not going to make any difference where I put that. You can see the numbers aren't changing at the top of the screen. 1.4 copper, 0.143 aluminium. It goes down if I move it a bit further away, but yeah. So since copper is what I really want, let's put that down there. Cool. And now we need power. And the easiest way to get power early game is to have a combustion chamber and some resources to put in a combustion chamber. But I don't have any coal. I can't remember what else they use. So what I'm probably going to need to do initially is build some solar panels. I don't have any gravel to hand to make a platform, so we're just going to need to put solar panels down any old where. The initial foundations take hundreds of thousands of gravel, and I just don't have that kind of level of resource. So let's pop a few solar panels down on this hillside here. Now solar panels always face in the same direction these days, so actually it's probably a bad place to put them because there's loads of trees in the way. Out of silicon. Well, silicon's easily sorted. Now I won't need lots of solar panels because solar panels only generate power during the day, and that little ore extractor isn't going to absorb a lot of electricity. So yeah, silicon you can get anywhere where there's a sandy surface. How much have I got? 3,000. I may need a bit more than that. Just wait for my power to restore. Now as you go through the game, you get bigger vehicles with a bigger range. They extract more resource. I mean, way more resource. You know, multiples of this amount of resource, and they can store more, and they can mine for essentially forever, or at least until the resource is extinguished. How much is that producing? 1.64. Come on. Yeah, so let's have a look. Electricity 4.97. So actually one more solar panel should be enough to do it for the daytime. But since I've got the resources in silicon, I may as well. Now, what's our electricity production? Oh, I need to make a science lab. Yeah. Now then, what do I need for a science lab? 4,000 silicon and 5,000 hard metal and 3,000 copper. So I'm going to need to mine quite a bit more copper. At the minute my only source of hard metal is copper, in any kind of quantity at all. Yeah, see I'm only getting 100 per tick there. see, let's convert that to hard metal. You just right click on anything with the anvil icon in its picture, and you can just change that to hard metal. How much hard metal do I need for the 5,000? So let's convert, we'll split that in half, convert that to hard metal, split 25%, convert that to hard metal. Yeah, and I've got enough hard metal, I just need more copper, is that right? And silicon, but silicon's very easy to get, so it won't take us long. And I'm kind of showing you this so you can see what's involved in creating an outpost. I kind of mined copper and aluminium through the night. Have I got enough stuff now? I'm just short of silicon, so that's not enough to do anything useful with, so let's just have a bit more hard metal, same for that. So the reason for getting an outpost up and running and powered is that the outpost will create resources for you. So you don't need to be, as well as surface mining, your outpost starts bringing in resources. So you can be out and about exploring, and don't get in the wage run, and you come back and you've got more resources than when you left. Come on. Now as you mine in an area, the resource you get from that area decreases quite rapidly. So I think we've got enough for the science outpost now. Yep, we've got a tick in each one of the boxes. And what we'll do is we will just pop the, where should we put the science station? Let's just pop it a little bit over here. So we can now set this to do research. Like this. And there's a variety of different things we can make, all of which in the early game is vital. Electronics is possibly the most vital, although foundations is quite important too, because getting better stuff for your vehicle, like all of this, your vehicle needs all of these things. It needs all of these things too, but we're actually bringing in this resource. So what we could do is we could set it off making this, and it'll get research points towards it, as long as there is some silicon and some copper in the base. So if there isn't any silicon and copper here, there won't be any research going on. Now before I set that off, let's look at the electricity. So we're currently discarding nearly 5 electricity. During the day, if the research science centre is on full, it takes 25 electricity, but I want my ore extractor to be fully powered. So what I'm going to have is the research thing on maybe 15%. Utilization 15%, there you go. And we'll pick a research by clicking on the beaker, and we'll pick this one. Why not? And accept. And the reason for picking that is that the miner's companion will increase resource extraction by 30%. If you see base modifiers, it also adds 2 compartments to my vehicle, so I can carry more things. It gives me access to a power generator, so my mining beam will last for longer, because that stores more electricity than the one that's in my vehicle now. And it'll give me a better induction motor, which will create more torque, so I'll be able to get up and down things faster. It'll also give me a better scanner a better sensor, and the computer. And the computer you can use to get your weapons to activate and target automatically, and that's pretty essential fairly early on. So we'll get a lot of things for doing that. We'll also get batteries, and with batteries the surplus solar power can be stored and then used throughout the night, because at the moment when it's night time my reproduction is going to grind to a halt. This 24-hour average resource summary, you can see I've got the extractor doing some, that doing some. Actually I could possibly have that on 20%, because where's the utilization? And then go back to electricity, and I'm just in the red for the electricity, so either my research or my extractor's just going to be not doing everything it should, but I don't want to be chucking electricity away, which is the only other option at the moment. What I really need to do is find a source of coal, and if Black Cat was watching this video she'd be horrified, but to start with you can have a combustion chamber. It doesn't produce too much pollution. And I've got, you can see at the bottom of the box that's popped up at the top left of the screen, it tells me the environment contains aluminium, copper, crude oil, titanium, and 762 trees. And those 762 trees will offset 6.33 carbon dioxide. So, even if I've got a combustion chamber that'll be producing pollution, the trees will be absorbing pollution. So one combustion chamber will produce electricity non-stop if I've got coal, so I'll need to find coal or some other resource to burn. I don't think you can burn crude oil in a combustion chamber. That wouldn't make sense, would it? No, I don't think so. So we've got things up and running. The ore extractor, you can see there it's ticking up. I'm gathering electricity, aluminium, copper, gravel, not rubber, silicon and titanium. So all those resources are gradually increasing. It's very gradual, but over time it just builds up. So let's go for a bit of an explore. Now we started off west a bit, so let's head east whilst it's daylight. Now the developer has actually introduced an option so that you can set it to a permanent, you can fix the time of day. So if you want it to be permanently daytime you can, if you want it to be permanently nighttime you can. And for streaming purposes that's quite interesting, because when it gets dark at night it gets really dark. What do you mean resources nearby? Nod. Oh, that's an asterisk, okay. Nickel. Okay. You can also get upgrades that mean you move faster in water, and you can get upgrades that mean you can well, you can improve all of your abilities. You can also get different vehicles, so you can have ships, obviously that work in water, and you can have flying vehicles, but that's quite a bit into the game. Since we've started off more or less with vanilla settings, apart from my making the fast travel option faster, or rather the cooldown on the fast travel option shorter, it's going to take a while to do research. Now if I wanted silicon, I could collect endless amounts of silicon from this bit of sand, and it's actually quicker to get silicon from sandy ground than it is to mine it with an ore extractor. So what I'm doing now is just going out exploring, trying to find more ore deposits. And this is the sort of frequency of ore deposits you get if you've left it on the vanilla settings. If you want to find ore more quickly, you just up the the resource setting when you're making the world. But I enjoy playing the game enough that, and enjoy driving the vehicles enough that I'm not fussed about doing it more quickly. I'm quite happy to take the time and actually discover it the way it was intended. Now, discovering new biomes is great because it counts towards the achievements, but it also gives you 5 credits each time you discover a new biome. So if we look in my inventory, I've now got 13.9 credits, and 10 of those credits are from discovering 2 new biomes. I'm already overweight though. It doesn't take much at this point in the game. Let's jump off there. Oh, let's scan for resources. Coal and crude oil. Aha! Where's the coal? There's the coal. And there's a geothermal power source somewhere. If you do scanning pulses too quickly, you can see at the bottom of the screen there's a countdown. Sometimes they'll fail if you do them too quickly, one on top of the other. So geothermal heat is handy because that means you can set up geothermal generators which will just constantly produce power, and they'll produce more power at night usually than they do during the day because they work on difference in temperature. I can't resist going to pick up containers. It's just more copper, that's always good. Although I'm getting very heavy now. But I do want to pick up some coal, because that means I'll be able to set up at least one combustion chamber, so I'll be able to have my science running at a more sensible level. So there's a nice big cliff face here. I should get a reasonable amount of coal. And that doesn't look like a lot of coal, but actually the combustion chamber only uses quite a small amount at a time. So I'll just do a couple of run-throughs of the mining charge, and I think that'll be enough to get the coal off to a good start. And what I'll have to do is put a coal container down, so I need 4,000 hard metal for that. But I've got plenty of stuff I can turn to hard metal. And actually I'll do that there. Yeah, we'll just get some more coal. It takes 4,000 hard metal per container. I've got 300 coal, that's more than enough to be going on with. Oh, there's another container over there. I'm a sucker for containers. You never know what they might contain, and copper. There you go. Right. Now then, we'll go back to the map. I'll have to name my outpost. So if I right click on there, I can go to. I'm not going to go to because I've still got a cooldown, even if but having left clicked on it, I will now have a target to aim for. Okay. Let's wow, he's trading high level stuff. Don't think I'll be able to afford that, will I? Oh. No, I think that's a bit wasteful of my cash at the moment because I've got so little of it. So he's given me an upgrade for some hard metal. Those can be put on components. So it could be put on the mining turret or the scanner because they're external. However, you can't put it on prototype components. So I'll need to research these things, put the proper components in, and then use the upgrade on it. So that will be the plan. Now we just need to head back to the outpost and get that going. Now this is fun single player, it's more fun multiplayer, and it's even more fun when you're streaming it on Twitch, because the game has Twitch chat integration. So I do stream it on Twitch. I'm Bilbetto on YouTube, and I am Bilbetto on Twitch, and aren't those reflections awesome? Oh, the game is just so beautiful. I know I've already said that in this very episode, but it's so true. So yes, if you want to see the game on Twitch, I stream it mostly at weekends, and it's good fun. Because that trader, for instance, that turned up there, you can issue a Twitch command in chat that's to send a trader, but the trader, instead of having a generic name, will be you. So if you were called Bob the Great, then the trader, instead of being Samfire, will be called Bob the Great. So you actually turn up in the game as the NPC to give me the resource, or to allow me to trade with you, or as a pirate, or something. There's a wide variety of commands, and they're not all positive for the person playing the game, but they're all interesting, so they're all worth having a go. Even pirate and troll. So yeah, if you fancy doing that, you can look at my channel on Twitch, which is Bilbetto, and I usually have a little thing below the picture of my channel that tells you when I'm next streaming. Let's see what this is. A large copper. Ooh. Yeah. No, I'm not worried about that right now. Okay. Here we are. Now, am I going to be able to find a way through here? To change the view, you just scroll in and out with your mouse wheel. It's pretty straightforward. Looks like I might be able to get around this way. Trees really slow you down if you bash into them, but when they're this densely packed, it's very hard to avoid them. Particularly when you have my driving skills. And the physics of the driving, I love the physics of the driving in this game. If you're overburdened, or if it's raining, or if you change wheels, actually, it all totally affects how the performance of the vehicle that you're driving. No, my greed's getting the better of me there. What I actually need to do is get all this stuff back to base and unload, so I'm more manoeuvrable again. I'll need a gradual incline to get up. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get up there. Oh, I did. Awesome. So let's see if we can make a combustion chamber. What do we need for a combustion chamber? We need more hard metal. I need to be really careful how much if I split off 25%, convert that to hard metal, and then split off 10% and convert that to hard metal, then I should have enough hard metal And enough copper. Yep. And actually I'll just put that next to where it's needed, although it doesn't actually make any difference where you put it. And then I will need to turn all of that actually into hard metal, because I'll need to make another container for coal, but I'll put that with the other containers. I'll take that target off my outpost. Come on, why are we not put one in there? See, we'll put one on the other end. There we go. Change that to coal. Click on refit. Yeah. And then we'll stick coal in there. Oh, too far away. So we just need to be next to one of the containers. And just transfer the coal onto any container we happen to have. So that's sulfur. So I've picked up sulfur somewhere along the way. It must have been a container, I think. What I'll do is I'll need to make a container for sulfur, so it's got somewhere to be stored. Because even with just these little bits, I'm at 88% of my maximum weight. Now, once you get past 100%, you start suffering damage. Well, not damage, but yeah, it starts having an effect on your driving. So it takes longer to stop, it's harder to get up risers, that kind of thing. Let's go back to the combustion chamber. And you need to decide what it's going to burn. Oh, it can burn crude oil. Ah, that's interesting. But crude oil is a liquid, so I need a liquid collector and a liquid storage tank. Oh, that's good to know. So we're burning coal. We're now producing 11.9 electricity from the coal. So let's head back to the research station, the science station rather. Let's call things by the right name. And I think we can up that a little bit. Yeah. So we're doing research. Now, are my numbers going down or are they? So I think the silicon's going up, but the copper's going down. So what I need to do is sort of hand mine some more copper to give that a boost. And then during daylight hours, when the solar power is online, I can massively increase the amount of research that the science station is doing. I haven't collected much copper, but let's put that straight into a container, because my copper is so low that my research will be grinding to a halt. There we go. And now if I look at the research, yeah. So, as I said before, it doesn't matter if the things here are green or not. As long as you've got some of each resource in your base, it will keep on doing the research as long as it's powered. And I need another container for gravel, because I've got as much gravel as I can store. And with more hard metal, I could research this, which would give me a different type of foundation, and it will also give me the cargo stand. So the upgrades and these bits you can't store in cargo containers, you have to store them in a cargo stand. So that's quite a useful piece of research to get. But at the moment, nearly 5,000 hard metal is quite a commitment of resource. So I shall mine some more resources, I shall complete that research, and I'll bring you back in the next episode, and we'll pick it up from there. So we'll see you then. Bye for now, guys.